The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon. And last night we had Monday Night Football. The Detroit Lions took on the Chicago Bears in a NFC North divisional matchup between two rivals who flat out don't like each other. Family business was underway and a lot of defense, not a lot of offense in this football game. Didn't think it was going to be such a defensive struggle. Knew the Bears were going to play some defense. Didn't expect the Lions to play as good a defense as they did. I think that hit that Sue put on Jay Cutler had a lot to do with the drop-off in production in that football game. But let's talk a little bit about the game itself. The Bears came out on that first drive, and they really established. Let's back up a little bit. The Lions got the ball first, and they set the tone in this football game on that first drive. They come out, and in the whole pregame, John Gruden and Mike Tirico have been talking about the lack of Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson hooking up, and where's the disconnect and what needs to happen, this, that, and the other. And they come out on the first possession. He targets him about 2 or 3 times, and I thought this was a pivotal point, and it was the first possession. So that lets you know just how tough of a game it was for the Lions. I thought this was a key moment in the game for them. Wide open over the middle. Calvin Johnson gets free in the secondary. He runs a post route. He's open over the middle of the field. Matthew Stafford throws a beautiful ball, a dart right to Calvin Johnson, hits him in his hands. You don't see this often from Calvin Johnson, but he just flat out dropped the football. I think he had a lapse in concentration, probably looking to see where the Bears defenders were, looking to see what he could get up the field because he was wide open. It's not many times Calvin Johnson is going to find himself that wide open in a defense, especially this Bears defense that's very aggressive, but also very sound in their principles. They normally don't give up big chunks of yardage like how much they were going to give up on that play to Calvin Johnson. But he dropped the football, which is something that honestly, that was the first time I ever seen Calvin Johnson just flat out drop the football. I've never seen him just flat out not catch the football. I was surprised, shocked. Any other adjective you can use to describe caught off guard, that's what I was. But I thought that was a sign of things to come. That was a bad omen for the Lions because that drop really signified just a myriad of mistakes to come. I mean, the Lions did everything in their power, everything they could imagine. They did it in this game to lose. And never thought that a drop on the first possession could be so big. But, yeah, that drop really was the start of the end for the Detroit Lions in this game. They just could not get it going. And they couldn't get out of their own way. And they punted the football, and the Bears took the ball, drove it straight down the field. It was a masterful drive, headed by a lot of Jay Cutler to Brandon Marshall, which was the theme of the night. They kept finding each other. And look, that's one thing that you have to know coming into a football game. Jay Cutler is going to force the ball to Brandon Marshall. The one game he didn't throw the ball to Brandon Marshall, they lost. That was the game against the Packers. And even in that game, he threw a beautiful pass to Brandon Marshall that should have been caught for a touchdown, and Brandon Marshall dropped it. But in his defense, he hadn't had the ball all game long, and mentally not sure if he was there or not. No excuses. I shouldn't be making excuses for him. They throw the ball till you catch it. So in this game, they came out, and it was evident. It was obvious from the beginning. from the get-go that Jay Cutler was going to look for Brandon Marshall early and often in this football game, and he was going to find him time and time and time again. And even if he wasn't open, he was going to throw it to him anyway. That's what Jay Cutler does when it comes to Brandon Marshall. It doesn't matter if he's covered, doesn't matter if he's open. He's going to try to get the football to Brandon Marshall because that's who he's comfortable with. He knows Brandon Marshall will make a play for him. And so he threw the football to Brandon Marshall over and over again, handed it to Matt Forte, and when they got in the red zone, he found Brandon Marshall again for a touchdown. And that was enough to beat the Lions on this night. Really, it was. Because the Lions were so stagnant on offense. And even when they got something going, they blew it. So they go up 7-0. And the Lions, they have opportunities in this game. You can't turn the foot. We've talked about this all weekend long. We've talked about this in several different games. You can't turn the football over on the road and think you're going to win. You can't turn the football over, period, in the National Football League and expect to win. But to do it on the road is a cardinal sin. You can't do it. We talked about that in the Jets game. We talked about that in the Redskins game. We've talked about it a number of times throughout the course of this season. We talked about it a lot on Sunday because a lot of games were decided by teams turning the football over on the road. You can't do it and expect to win in this league. And that's what the Lions did on Monday night against the Bears in Chicago. You can't turn it over. They fumbled 6 times in this game. And they lost 3 of them. 2 of them in the red zone. Inexcusable. You can't fumble the football in this league and expect to win. It's not going to happen. Every time they got across midfield and threatened to score, threatened to do anything in this game, they turned the football over. So the first time they crossed midfield, they're having a steady drive, a nice mixture of run and pass on the Lions. And they handed off to Mikel LaShaw, who had a solid game last night. He wasn't bad in his performance against the Bears for his first time as a Detroit Lion. I thought he had a nice mixture of power and speed, but he did not hold on to the football on this night. He gets in a pile, and it was a good job of Lance Briggs, just being persistent. And this Bears defense is very persistent. They go after the football, and they go after it aggressively, and they're good at what they do. I mean, I've never seen anyone with the uncanny ability and the knack for just knocking the ball loose like Charles Tillman. I mean, it's like, literally, like Mike Tirico says, it's like his hand has a magnet in it, and inside the football is a big piece of iron. And every single time he loads that fist up, he connects, and it's like he hits it in the sweet spot every time. He doesn't miss. It's amazing. He just has a penchant for knocking the football free. He has the uncanny ability to do it and do it so accurately. It's stunning how often he does this and how accurate he is with it. I mean, boy, is he efficient with punching the football out, causing fumbles. And he did it again, 2 or 3 different times. I don't think they were able to recover any of them. 2 of them trickled out of bounds, but still, he's amazing. I've seen him do it over the years. Him and Charles Woodson, 2 of the best that I've ever seen, and just dislodging the football with a punch. I like to call it a bolo punch. They just come in with a simple bolo punch, and the ball comes out. But Lance Briggs is another guy on that defense that forces turnovers, and Mikel LaShaw went in the hole. Thought he was doing a pretty good job of trying to cover the football up, but Lance Briggs got his hand in there, kind of knocked it free a little bit, but Mikel LaShaw still had control of the ball, but it was starting to slip. You could see it starting to become dislodged, and Lance Briggs grabbed his bottom arm as he tried to corral the ball back in. He grabs his bottom arm, and that basically makes the ball pop loose, and the Bears are able to recover. Just a magnificent play by Lance Briggs. And again, that's what this Bears defense does. They force turnovers, and they take advantage of any mistake that you make, especially if you make one on offense. You make an errant throw, Tim Jennings or Charles Tillman are going to pick you up. You are carrying the ball loosely, or you're not paying attention to what defender is in front of you. Peanut Tillman will poke that ball free. You're reckless with the ball around. Lance Briggs is coming out. These guys are very, very adept at getting turnovers, forcing turnovers and recovering them, picking them off. And when they get them, a lot of times, they're going off to the races trying to get to the end zone. They're trying to get 7. They don't leave it up to the offense to deposit those into points. They try to do it themselves. And when you play teams like that, you have to be extra careful with the football, because one false move, one false step, one mistake can be the difference in the game. Some teams you can get away with the turnover and not have anything result from it. Or you may only give up a field goal, depending on where you give up the turnover at. With these Bears, it doesn't matter if you're going in for a score at the 7-yard line. You make a mistake, it could be going 93 yards the other way. That's just how they operate. I mean, we watched the Cowboys game about 3 weeks ago when the Cowboys were driving down for points, and Tony Romo gets hit, ball comes out, it's picked off by Lance Briggs, and he goes about 77 yards the other way. I mean, they don't care how far they are from the end zone. They're trying to get in there, and they're really good at what they do, and that's what they did against the Lions. Lance Briggs forces a fumble. They get down to the goal line again, or for the first time of the night, they get down to the goal line. I'm talking literally within inches. Joy Bell tries to stretch the ball out. It's poked away. Brian Urlacher recovers, and that's as close as they got to the end zone, with actually a chance to win the game. They scored a garbage time touchdown at the end, but no one was really buying that feeble comeback attempt at the end of the game. That was really their one chance to get on the board, get 7, and really put pressure on the Bears to have to do something. There was never any pressure on the Bears all night to have to perform on the offensive end. As long as the defense kept forcing turnovers, kept keeping the Lions out of the end zone, the offense could just go out on the field, get a first down and 2, and then punt, eat up some clock, and then punt the football, change the field position, and make the Lions have to go the length of the field to score a touchdown. And that's all they did all night. After they got that 13-point lead, the offense just put it in cruise control. And they did the Bears. They didn't even really try to push the issue. They didn't really go down the field much. All they did was methodically eat up clock and then punt and make the Lions go the length of the field to score. And they couldn't do it. They proved last night that they really couldn't go the length of the field and get it done. And so they get down there again, and after fumbling, after Joy Bell fumbles, they get down there again, and this time they want no part of the run game. I thought they should have at least attempted one run. But they get down there, and they attempt 3 straight passes from the 3-yard line, and they can't get in. And I thought that was indicative of the night for the Lions. They just couldn't get it right. They couldn't call the right play. They couldn't make a play when it needed to be made. They couldn't get on the same page with each other. They just had a very bad night offensively. But let's not take away from how good their defense played. Their defense played excellent in this football game. I mean, for as bad as their offense was and how many times they turned the football over, they should have gotten blown out in this game. But their defense really stood up, and they gave themselves a chance. I mean, look, if they get in the end zone or any one of these plays that we just talked about, either one of these turnovers, because on that last drive when they threw it 4 straight times, the last play on 4th down resulted in a pick. And I don't even know what Matthew Stafford was thinking there, because it's not like they could get a first down. So he didn't even throw the ball into the end zone. So I didn't even know what the logic was there, but it didn't matter. If the Lions score on either one of those plays, if they score a touchdown, and hindsight is 2020, hell, if they kicked a field goal on both of those possessions, we're talking about a 1-score game. They scored a touchdown on either one of those possessions. We're talking about a 1-score game. And for as bad as they played, to be down 1 score with a chance to win, if you could get a stop and get the ball back to your offense, I mean, you have to give credit where credit is due, and a lot of credit is due to that defense of the Lions because they gave their offense, who was struggling mightily in this football game, they gave them a chance to win several times. They gave them opportunities by keeping them in the game. Even the special teams chipped in with a field goal block. I mean, if you tack on one more Robbie Gould field goal, we're talking about a 2-possession game, but having to go for two times just to tie it up. Instead, they block a field goal attempt from Robbie Gould, his first miss of the season. And so it's still a 2-possession game where 2 touchdowns gets you a win. They just couldn't get in the end zone. They couldn't punch it in. Again, they just had a bad night. But this has been a problem for the Lions all season long. They can't score the football. They haven't been able to score when they get in the red zone. They've had to settle for field goals all season. Jason Hanson has been one of their most valuable players because they rely on him to kick field goals quite often because they can't get it in the end zone. That happened to be their undoing in this game as well. And if you're the Lions, it's hard to say where you go from here because I don't know how you fix this problem. You just came off of a bye week. You had 2 weeks to prepare for the Chicago Bears, and you were only able to muster a late game garbage time touchdown. 7 points. It's hard for me to fathom that you had 2 weeks to prepare for the Chicago Bears defense, a team you know all too well. You know exactly what they're going to do on defense. They don't really change up their looks. You're getting cover 2. You're going to get different variations of it, but you're getting cover 2. There's only so many ways you can play cover 2. You're going to get it. You know what's coming. You've played the Bears 2 times in a season for the last 80 years. You know what's coming. It's what the Bears do on defense. They play cover 2. And for you to only be able to muster 7 points on the scoreboard, I don't know where you go from here if you're a Detroit Lions fan. I don't know what is next for you because it doesn't get any easier for you. So you go from playing one of the top defenses in the National Football League to another top elite National Football League defense, and you're having trouble scoring the football. I don't know what to tell you. All I can say is that season you had a year ago was an anomaly, and you're not going to the playoffs. Those are 2 things that I can assure you of. But in terms of how to get this thing on track, I just don't know the answer to that because they showed coverages last night of what teams are doing to Calvin Johnson. And honestly, I could care less. If I'm Matthew Stafford, I tell Calvin Johnson, run the slant. They showed a coverage where they had Nnamdi Asomugha and another corner or safety, shading him inside. And I tell Calvin, win inside. Get inside of one defender, and I'm just going to throw it up, and you're going to beat the other defender on the inside. And I'm going to throw it up. You're 6'5". You have leaping ability out of this world. You have the reach of probably a 7'2" person. I'm throwing it up. And see, they threw a back shoulder fade kind of pass to him last night, and Charles Tillman was able to knock it away. And Charles Tillman is not your average size corner. He's a relatively big corner. He's about 6'1", and he's got long arms as well. But I don't care. That was a bad throw by Stafford because if you're playing against a corner that's aware, like a Charles Tillman, he can knock the ball away. The ball was right there. Throw it up high. That's where your advantage is. 6'5", long reach, can jump out of the gym, throw the football up as high as you can get it to where only Calvin can reach. That's the answer to all of your red zone issues. Throw it up high. It's Calvin's job to keep the ball away from the defender once he corrals it, gets his big mitts and paws around it, to keep the ball away from the defender from chopping it out of his hands. But get it up high. That's the answer to your woes in the red zone. Throw it high. But they just need to be more creative. Okay, fine. You don't want to force it to Calvin Johnson? I would. But you don't want to force it to him? Okay. Be creative. Find ways to get guys open. And they just didn't do that last night. They haven't been doing it all season, and they are in some serious trouble. So now the Lions, after that 7-13 defeat at the hands of the Bears last night, now they're 2-4 on the season. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears are 5-1. They're riding high. And although this Chicago Bears team is really good, I love what they do on the defensive side of the ball, they don't wow me. I don't know what that means. I don't know if you have to wow me to be a good team, because honestly, there's not a lot of teams in the league that wow me right now anyway. But it's something about the Bears that makes me uneasy about them, makes me uncomfortable. 13 points, and again, this was a divisional matchup, so hard to really get bent out of shape that they only scored 13 points last night. But look, your defense played exceptionally well. They forced 4 turnovers, and you were only able to get 13 points. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. Again, if the Lions don't regurgitate all over themselves, they're able to, let's say they just muster up 2 field goals instead of turning it over. Say, let's take away 2 of those turnovers, turn those into Jason Hanson field goals. We're talking about a 1-score game, and you've played as well as you have if you're the Bears, especially their defense. For as well as you played, if you're the Bears defense, you'd be frustrated if this game were to come down to a last-second stop, that you have to go out and stop the Lions from driving down the field and getting in the end zone just to prevent them from either tying or winning the game. Maybe they want to go for 2 and just get it over with. You would be sick to your stomach if this game came down to that, as well as you played it. So from that standpoint, you got to be kind of just a little off-put by the fact that you were only able to get 13 points on the scoreboard, as well as you played defensively. And I know if you're a good defense, you just hang your hat on being able to stop teams from scoring, as you should. But again, if I'm the Bears, I feel like, look, we're playing this good defense, man. Go get some points. I don't care if you're getting field goals. Just keep scoring points. Make it harder for them to beat us. Don't make it as simple as 2 touchdowns. Make it tough on them to beat us. Hell, I guess the Bears offense just got so used to Charles Tillman and Lance Briggs scoring defensive touchdowns every game, they just forgot to score points. They figured, hey, we'll get to 27. We just need to score 13, and Charles and Lance will supply the other 14. Don't worry about it. So they got to come better than that. 13 is not going to get it done on most nights. I think that's how much they scored against the Packers. They might have only scored 10 against the Packers when they lost to Green Bay, and that's what's going to happen to them when they play good football teams that can play defense if they can't score on offense. And I wonder about this offense. I mean, I'm looking at this offense, and as well as the Bears have played this season, I look at this offense and I see Matt Forte, I see Brandon Marshall, and I see Jay Cutler. I still see a average to slightly above average, maybe less than average, depending on how they're feeling in that current game. Offensive line, you have no production out of your tight ends. And I don't see any other receivers out there that scare me. I mean, Earl Bennett is always in and out of the lineup. You don't know what you're getting out of Devin Hester. Of course, he's a speedster, but you don't get much out of him. Haven't seen Alshon Jeffrey in a while. I'm not that convinced that this Bears offense is really as good as we thought it was coming into the season. I don't know. Is it just me? Or is it... And maybe I'm reading too much into it. They did play the Lions, a team that I guess is playing some good defense now. It was a divisional game. But they were struggling with Jacksonville for 3 quarters, as I suspected they would, until the lid came off of that one, and Jacksonville just spilled juice all over themselves and spilled juice everywhere, and points just started spilling from all parts of that stadium. But they struggled with Jacksonville for 3 quarters. The Cowboys were in that game until they started turning it over left and right and giving up pick sixes. I'm not convinced that this offense is really that good. I mean, they struggled against the Rams at home. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not sold on this Bears offense. Sign me up for the defense. I'll sign up for that. Their offense, though, hold off on the signature for that one. I'm not signing up for that. So we'll see. But they're 5-1. So they're getting the job done right now. But again, when you get to the playoffs, if you make it to the playoffs, everyone's good. You don't get teams like the Rams, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, like the Detroit Lions in front of you, who have problems scoring and who don't play a lot of defense in some instances. You don't get that in front of you. You get good football teams week after week after week after week. That's why it's the playoffs. Everyone's good now. So, I don't know. I don't know if that Bears offense is ready to get it done in the playoffs. But we'll see. It's a long way away from the playoffs. They've got a lot of time to mesh and gel together. Again, a lot of these parts are different. Alshon Jeffrey is a rookie. Brandon Marshall is coming over from the Denver Broncos. And so there's a lot of moving parts. Guys still need time to mesh together and fit within the confines of this offense. Mike Tyson's a new offensive coordinator. So I guess you've got a lot of moving parts. So we'll see. But right now I'm not sold on this Bears offense. And that's going to do it for this episode. That's a touchdown. I'm going to tack on this quick extra point. I posted the new program and the new segment that I came up with, dubbed the NFL Starting Five. So that is now up and ready for viewing. I'm also in the works of creating another program that will air on Tuesdays that I'm really looking forward to doing because we're starting to get late into the season. And I told you, enjoy this football season. I told you. Just like that, we're in week 8 already. We're halfway through the NFL season. Just like that, if you blink twice, what happened to the first half of my season? It's gone. That's what happened to it. And I'm telling you what, you blink twice again, it'll be Thanksgiving, then it'll be Christmas, then it'll be New Year's, then it'll be playoff time. And half the teams in the league, over half of the teams in the league, will not be playing football. Your favorite team probably won't be playing football still. I know mine probably won't. And so enjoy this football while it's here, while it's in front of you, and while it's there for your consumption. Enjoy it. Bask in it. Consume as much as you possibly can because once it's gone, your Sundays will be empty. You'll be left looking to fill that void. I'm warning you. Get as much football as you can while it's there to be got. I'm trying to tell you. It's going to be gone before you know it. So I have a show in the works, another segment that I want to do on Tuesdays that I'm looking forward to bringing to you that's going to break down each and every division every week, talking about who's up, who's down, who won, who lost, talk about divisional records, matchups, and just breaking down what the playoff race is looking like. We're getting down to that point now in the season where games are starting to matter. And not to say that week 1's game doesn't matter, and week 2's game matters less than week 9's game, but what happened in the past is gone now. Now these games, you can rectify your season. You could have started 1-3 on the season and turned it around, and now these games matter. You may have dropped a few games early on in the season because you weren't meshing well as a team. Now you're starting to get it. Everybody's on the same page. You're playing good football. Now these games count. You can turn it around and get to the playoffs. So I want to start chronicling what's going on in each division and kind of keeping tabs on the happenings inside of each and every single division in the National Football League and bring that coverage to you so you can keep tabs on what's going on and have a healthy knowledge of what's going on in the National Football Leagues around these divisions and just stay abreast of what's going on. And that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to bring to you. And so be on the lookout for that. That should be coming up sometime in the near future. If not this week, definitely by next week. And that will be aired on every Tuesday. And the Starting 5 program that I told you about that is up for viewing now, that's going to be an every Thursday segment. So this Thursday coming up will be the second installment of the Starting 5. And I want you to definitely keep an eye out for that as well. I thank you for joining me on the program today. It's a lovely day outside here where I am. So I'm going to get outside and enjoy this weather because there's not much more of this left. Fall is the best season of all the seasons. I just love it to death. My fondest childhood memories come from the fall. I've always been a fall guy. I love football. It just signalizes a lot for me. You get Thanksgiving. I love family. I love friends. I love football. You put all those things together. You get that in the fall, going into the winter. I love Thanksgiving. That's my favorite holiday. I love Christmas. I just love being around family, and you get all of those things in that holiday season. And so enjoy this time because it'll be gone before you know it. And I don't know. I just get nostalgic when I start talking about the fall and football and family and friends. It's a good time. Enjoy this football while it's here. Because I'm telling you right now, it'll be gone before you know it. And that's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me in the lab room today. I want to hear from you. Drop something in the inbox at inthelabroom@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Like me on Facebook. Every single episode of any show that I've done, any segment that I've done, is on my Facebook page. So if you missed something, you want to go back and check it out, it's all there on the Facebook page. Again, I thank you for joining me. Enjoy your day. I hope your day is as beautiful outside as it is here. I'm going to go and get a little bit of sunlight and get a little bit of that nice fall weather. And you have a good day. And I hope to see you back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a good one.